Hi folks, Ian Davis. I'm obviously at the range, and I always bring my camera equipment to the range. And I'm taking a break, and I thought I would share some thoughts about a subject that's deeply important to me, and just send it out to the world for your consideration. And that is the education of the next generation of Americans. We are living in a world of desperate trouble when it comes to educating our children. 2,000 plus years ago, the Greeks started our modern education system, and it was picked up by the Romans, and then it was picked up by various people in the Middle Ages. The Church was picked up by folks in the Enlightenment and beyond. But something has happened to it, and it's really deeply troubling. It's not what it used to be, and it isn't generating the results that it used to generate. And we all see it, and we all know it, but we're not quite sure what to do with it. And we've been convinced, I think we've been convinced, that going backwards is not an option, because backwards is by definition bad. And I'm not sure it is. So that's kind of a backdrop to what I have to say to you, and that put it in very current context. Our family has been searching for an alternative for the educational options that are out there. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are absolutely disastrous. And we've done some hard work at looking what's out there. And we found a place, and I want to share it with you. It is called Penn Woods Classical Christian Academy. It is one of 4 Hillsdale candidate schools in, I should say, Hillsdale classical Christian schools in the country. And it's located right here in the greater Pittsburgh area. And we could not be more fortunate to have a classical academy with a biblical worldview modeled after the Hillsdale curriculum here in our backyard. It actually is a sort of an unkept secret, not an unkept, but a well-kept secret. I'm not sure why, but nonetheless, it's starting up this coming fall, opening up for preschool through grade 6. It's going to add 1 grade per year after that. In my estimation, in relation to a traditional private school that is specifically geared toward wealthy people, this is absolutely a bargain. Not to mention the fact that they've got some unbelievable financial aid for folks that are not particularly well off. It's an absolute game changer for so many families. If you don't understand the classical Christian model, or let's start with the classical model. If you don't understand the classical model, I'll leave a link in the description of this video, and you can take a look at that. I'll also leave a link to Penn Woods, and you can explore that. But the essence of the model is that Penn Woods Classical Christian Academy is seeking to train minds and hearts and souls so that they recognize truth, so that they can discern truth from lies, so that they see the beauty that's been created by our Creator, so that they see our Creator, and so that they can take their place in the world as clear-thinking, compassionate, kind, courageous, bold citizens in this great American experiment before we go off the rails. And it's my hope that our sweet grandson, Elijah, whom many of you know, will be one of those people. He thankfully has been accepted into Penn Woods Classical Christian Academy. We're so thankful for that decision on the part of the school leadership. And we're looking forward to participating in some way in both Elijah's educational journey and the educational journey of all the folks at the Penn Woods Classical Academy. So I think if you're in the market in any way, and I don't mean that if you're necessarily going into preschool and that's it. If you're anywhere in that cycle and you have reservations about where your child is and you want a traditionally well-grounded, classical, Christian education that focuses on the beauty that Western civilization has brought to the world in the last 2,000 years, and I understand not every aspect of Western civilization is beautiful, but that doesn't mean throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you want that kind of education for your child, please talk to Dr. Stennett, the head of school at Penn Woods. He will take the time out of his busy schedule to give you a tour, to have a conversation with you, to do a little education with you if you're not quite sure what the classical model is all about. My children were educated, were homeschooled in the classical model, and they have done very, very well for themselves. And I would just encourage you to explore this option. Get it on the ground floor. The financial aid is available and it's generous. And this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity for you, and I wouldn't want you to miss it. We sure didn't want to miss it. We jumped on it. As soon as we understood that it was Hillsdale-backed, came from an established, robust Hillsdale curriculum. And there are some supplementary curriculum that support it. For example, Singapore Math, the Institute for Excellence in Writing. Those are tried and true curricula that all of us in the homeschool community and the private school community and the classical community, we understand that those are the benchmarks in terms of curricula. But in addition, the dedicated Hillsdale curriculum that supports that it just can't be beaten. So please go to the link below, check out what the classical model is all about. Reach out to Dr. Eric Stennett, the head of school at Hillsdale, and he will graciously give you all that he has to offer in terms of an understanding of what Penn Woods can offer. So I'm going to get back to the range. I've got lots of work to do to be the protector, the first responder in my family, both my direct family and my extended family. You know, I have a little map at home, and there's a little dot right where my house is, and that dot reminds me, not where I live, I'm not quite that old yet, it reminds me that God has given me that little place to protect, and so I'm out here doing that. And if you're interested in any of that sort of collaboration, reach out to me at riandavis@intrepidfirearmsacademy.com, and we'd be happy to build a relationship in that world as well. So God bless you all. Thank you for listening.